Hey y'all, welcome to Geek Freaks. I am Frank, and today I'm joined by Jonathan.
Hey, yo.
John, how you been, man?
I have been good. How you been?
Doing good. Today we're going to be talking about the GTA leak that's all over the place. We're going to be talking about Andor a little bit. Power Rangers is kicking off a cinematic universe and Twitch's gambling problem. But first, Jonathan, we're going to do a Geek Box. I forgot we have the Geek Box. We use it during the stream all the time. And I'm always struggling to find geek questions. Like, that's so stupid. I literally have a box full of questions. So we're pulling from the box right now. This is a random question. Neither of us have seen it. Here it is. Which game console do you own?
Oh, okay. So that's
Let's
pretty
add a
easy.
flavor to this. Which one is your favorite one? Two.
So I have an Xbox One, but I've hardly even played it. Like
It's a
almost,
good console too.
yeah. Uh, and I have an N64 in a box. I actually just saw it not so long ago. I still have my 360, though it got the red rings of death. But I have to
No.
say, of all the systems I've had, I think the 360 was my most used and therefore probably my favorite
Yeah.
of all my systems. Though my newest one is my Steam Deck, and that's getting some good use too. That's pretty awesome so far.
What's the best game you've played on the Steam Deck so far?
So I'm really into Raft right now, though it doesn't play good on the Steam Deck. But the my favorite one that I played so far was your suggestion was Stray. That
Yeah.
played really good on there. It was real like easy, slow paced games. You could just kind of play casually. I went on kind of a vacation not too long ago and pretty much played that the whole time.
Dude,
So
it's just fun being a cat running around the city, man.
yeah,
It's
and
amazing how much just walking around is cool.
the world was interesting too. It's all these robots and they're kind of slow moving and stuff, but it's just a totally unique world.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
I liked it a lot. All right, so for Geek Freaks news, for the network news, we are going to be off on this podcast for the next 2 weeks. I'm going on a cruise, y'all, so I will see you later. But everything else is still coming out. Pushing Buttons, Trek Freaks, Disney Moms, everything else. We have multiple interviews coming out while I'm gone. And Geek Freaks is going to be putting out some greatest hits. So we have 2 greatest hits episodes coming out. So check those out for some nostalgia purposes. Jonathan, Trek Freaks, what's your guys' next episode? It's like episode 19, right?
Yes. Oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it, but it is a pretty good one so far. Where they touch down on a planet with people that are underdeveloped, but they are somehow getting technology faster than they are prepared for. So
Ooh. Somebody
it's
broke the Prime Directive.
exactly. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So it's a pretty good episode. We should be recording that any day now.
I love
Ready to
I
go.
love Star Trek so much, man. Every time.
Yeah.
Every time I watch it, I'm like, yep, this stuff is good. And then also, Pushing Buttons is putting out a new series called 1 Minute Reviews, and literally it's just 1 minute reviews for different video games. It's already taking off quite a bit, and it's been a lot of fun to work on that. And our TikTok is going to be getting fuller. So you guys know that we have Headlines. It's a podcast that releases through TikTok as well. We're also going to now start, we used to do it, but now that we're bigger and stuff, we're going to start releasing clips from all of our shows onto our TikTok. I'm sure it's going to make the people who only follow us on TikTok very upset. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Those 1 minute reviews sound like they'd be perfect for TikTok too.
They will, yeah, eventually, yeah, definitely. What it is so we're working with this company called Lurk It now, which helps us get keys for video games either before they come out or as they come out. And so but the deal is like, hey, you guys got to make content for it. I was like, yeah, that makes sense, that's fair. And so we're doing these 1 minute reviews, and some of these games that we've come across that I never would have tried if it wasn't for the fact that they literally handed me the keys to it, are really good. Their Stolen
Yeah.
Realm was really good. So they're currently on our YouTube. They'll eventually go onto our Twitch. But clips for all of our shows are going to go onto Twitch. Some of the interview clips are like really good nuggets. We have one interview, guys, coming up that she was a big deal for me. Like I now I'm kind of calmed down my interview game. She got me real nervous because I was like, oh my god. So that's coming out actually the week I'm going to be gone. So you guys are going to like that. I hope. I sure did.
Nice.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the news. We're going to first talk about Andor. Jonathan, you watched a bit of Andor. What's your first impressions for this?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, Star Wars, Disney has been doing so good with Star Wars lately.
Yeah.
It has that kind of nitty gritty, boots on the ground kind of vibe, that kind of dark city lurking in the shadows and stuff. It's just what I want to see. It's so well done. I've only seen majority of the first episode. I was taking care of my son
What a
while trying to
slacker.
watch it, but yeah, but it was really clean looking, and I'm excited for it because I'm hoping like. Everyone's like, "Oh, is it gonna live up to Mandalorian?" Like that was really good. I'm hoping this surpasses
That's the
Mandalorian.
gold, dude. That's the gold standard, though. Like honestly, if you could live up to Mandalorian, we're happy with you. So that's
Yeah,
tough.
yeah, and the Mandalorian as a character is so well known, and
Yeah.
from the Mandalorians in general from the Star Wars movies, and everyone was all excited about Boba Fett and Jango Fett, and we want to see more about their world. But that does leave like an anchor point that you can't move away from. You can't
Yeah.
really deviate from. It's a focal point. So I think with this being kind of a different character that doesn't, as far as I understand, doesn't have much history that we're tied to. Hopefully that means they can move around a lot more and
I like that
change the
though. I
character
like
more.
somebody whose last name's not Skywalker. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. You're not
Yeah.
having to live up to any certain expectation, from that specific character. So you have more freedom in the story and everything.
Yeah. So far, I'm loving it too. This world feels so much more real than any Star Wars world I've seen in a long time. Like Coruscant in a way, right? So what I can't stand about Tatooine, first off, it's cool. Who am I kidding, right? Everybody loves Tatooine. But if you think about it, like, who the hell's living on this planet where there's a town every 50 miles and it's the same dirt town that you've been in before? Like, when the Hoppin' Place is this little cantina where everybody gets shot and it's the same song repeating on itself, I'm okay. But this
Hmm.
feels like an old European city, right? Like, with the way the buildings are kind of stacked on each other, new tech is like bolted to old brick walls. It feels like it reminds me of Azores, like when you go through Angara and it's like
Yeah.
everything's a little too tight. And I love that about this, you
These
know?
streets weren't made for cars; they're made for walking.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. So you see this kind of evolution within, over such a wide period of time in that society. And
Yeah.
I like that we see a little bit of the political structure. I want to see kind of like you're saying, like the police and how that they interact and stuff. Like I want to see more of that.
Yeah.
It'd be great to have a show that was just like, though all the action and lightsabers are great, a show that is just the politics of Star Wars would be really cool, and I think a certain section of fans would love to just watch that.
Yeah, we even see like just classic bureaucracy. We see this one go-getter that's working a little too hard, and we see a bunch of people that are just like, look, just file the paperwork. And
Hmm.
these jobs feel real. It's not just that you're working for shooting the death laser, or if you're like, my job is Jedi. No, these actually feel like real jobs, and that's just kind of like with Obi-Wan. We saw Obi-Wan, like he's working for a cannery essentially. It kind of feels like that. Like these are real things, and that's the way you make Star Wars better, not by more lightsabers. I think, you know.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
So, and also just one more thing. This is like a spy thriller. It reminded me so much of the movie Shooter, which is kind of a weird pick, but the idea that you have, or Jason Bourne, there we go. There's one that maybe more people than me seen,
Yeah.
where you have
Unidentified.
this guy who's like a little bit awesome, you know, and he's kind of like he's against the powers that be. Meanwhile, you have that one guy, that one sticking point within the powers. It's like find him, track him down. It reminds me so much of like Jason Bourne or something like that, right?
Hmm.
Um, one sec, hold on. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So overall, guys, we're really liking it so far. We have more to watch. 3 episodes right off the bat is pretty big, and it looks like there's gonna be time jumps in it, just like there is for House of the Dragons, which that too has been very good. That's what we were just talking about before this. But please go check those out. John, when's the last time you watched Power Rangers?
Oh gosh, that's been a long time. I don't think I've seen it, as an adult. I think it was only when I was a kid I watched Power Rangers.
With Marco, do you think you're gonna show him Power Rangers?
If it's different, I don't think the Power Rangers we watched when we were kids. I don't think I would show him because I don't know. I wouldn't enjoy
Too
watching it
cheesy.
now. I think, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And back when we were kids, it was funny because it was so exciting. It was so good, and it was, it totally held up then. But now it's like, oh yeah, this is people playing around in costumes. Like it's almost like a street performance. So I'm hoping that the new Power Rangers they're coming out with are different, and they can go in either direction. If they are different and focusing on us as their audience, as adults, millennials, that's great. I mean, you can totally gear this to be, they're like Iron Mans and their suits are super high
Yeah.
tech and deeper social dynamics and stuff. Or if you don't want to and you want to make it more kids and flashing lights and maybe their suits have teleporting and things like that, great. I mean, develop them for either direction. But if we see the same stuff from the early '90s, then I don't think that's gonna land for either side.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be mature. We had a bunch of leaks that just came out for Power Rangers. One of the things was that, yeah, it's going to be geared for a mature audience, maybe like late teen and adults. And I
Hmm.
think so. It's coming to Netflix. They're going to do a movie first, then they're going to use the same cast in a series that's afterwards. And I think that's a good move because they're kind of using the Cobra Kai method that's obviously worked for Netflix, where they're going to bring in some of the original cast. They're going to be kind of a supporting role to a new cast, and we're going to be telling stories. They're also not going to use the Zords very much. They're only going to be for big finales and big events. good move in my opinion, because they're gonna have these season long stories. I want to know more about these characters. Like Jason, we know. That, I mean, like who cares about Jason? Tommy from the original The Green Ranger. I want a whole story about Tommy and learning more about him and his dynamic with like his siblings and stuff like that. Like that would be cool, and we're gonna get that with the new one. So I think that's gonna be pretty amazing.
Did they say if any of the original Power Rangers are coming in for any kind of role, like a
They are
mentor or
tapping
something like that?
all of them. They're working on
Oh,
trying to get all of them back. Yeah.
as well, they won't play themselves, right? They'll be
They will
playing.
play themselves, yes,
Really?
because this
Oh,
is going to
okay.
be like present day, and in the Power Rangers world, like everything that happened before had happened,
Oh,
so it's
okay.
not like it didn't happen. So
This is 20 years later, and their
yeah,
lives progressed, and we're seeing where they're at now. Oh, okay.
yeah,
They're
and
being called back into action, but they're not in the same fighting condition they used to be, or something.
yeah, and it sounds like Alpha and Zordon are still going to be there, and Zordon might be like, hey. We know you guys are struggling. Let's get some OG guys in here to help you out and help you. You know, Tommy's always been still active with the Power Rangers franchise. He'll definitely be back. I would love to see Kim personally because I was a big fan of Kim. So
Hmm.
let's get her back as well. But I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
This is going to be done by Netflix. Do you think this is going to save Netflix because they're having a hell of a time right now? They're suffering, man.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know what's the problem with Netflix. I mean, they make a lot of good original content,
Just not
but
enough of it, I think.
yeah, well, I think they've been letting go of some of their anchors to go back to their own networks, or they've been getting pulled back to their own networks.
Yeah.
And so when you're just kind of trying to fart around through Netflix and not really find something new, but you just want to put on some of the same old good stuff, you're running out of options there. So I think that's they're losing some of their tent poles. But I mean, hopefully, I mean this will have that kind of nostalgic vibe. So it's not gonna be the same thing we saw before. It's not, you know, putting on, I don't know, Seinfeld or Friends or
Yeah.
Everybody Loves Raymond or something like that. But it'll be putting on something new that kind of feels old. But yeah, I don't see this being the thing that really saves them. If this launches and it's a, you know, huge global sensation, you know, like how hot Game of Thrones was when it was out, or Walking Dead, that kind of show, then
Yeah.
sure, that's what they need, is another big push. But I don't see Power Rangers really being that, honestly.
You know, yeah, I imagine when they lost like The Office over at
Hmm.
Netflix, they were like, "Oh shit, what are people gonna watch?" Because
Yeah.
there's so many shows that like until the next episode of Queen comes out or something like that, Peaky Blinders, you're watching The Office, you're watching Schitt's Creek, which by the way, that's leaving on October. Like all
Mhm.
these just filler shows, and they're hemorrhaging them, and Hulu is killing it. I was telling somebody like. Hulu's the giant that nobody talks about, and sure enough, when I was watching the Emmys, like Hulu won, Hulu won, Hulu won,
Yeah.
and it's what I watch all the time. So it's like Netflix gets all the fame and
Mhm.
harassment, and Hulu's just over here like, yeah, we're just gonna keep putting out the shit you guys like. It's a good move.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to see Netflix go away, so I hope
Of
they
course not.
yeah, I hope they can, you know, pull out some good series. But I kind of think, I mean, I'd like to see more Netflix original series like The Office, like make, you
Yeah,
know, other fun sitcoms like that. But yeah, I think they got to find a way to kind of bring in one or two good anchors of older shows. King of Queens was one of them I was betting on to come next, because it seems like they're always trying to rotate in something. Right now, I've been watching Seinfeld as my kind of background noise on Netflix.
I could see
Um,
that.
but I could see either King of Queens or maybe Everybody Loves Raymond, but something like that to come in soon to be their next kind of casual sitcom.
Yeah, I gotta watch. I haven't watched Seinfeld in so long, man. I need to watch that again.
So Netflix has the benefit of it's easier in my room because of my TV. I'm sure they paid to put their app on the TV,
Of
but I just
course.
hit a button from my remote to open it. Everything else I have to log into my Xbox and find them that way. So when we're going to bed, we just put on Seinfeld because it's something funny and light. We just kind of have it in the background. So in the other rooms, it's just as easy to access everything else. But yeah, so that's kind of why I just watch Seinfeld when I'm going to bed. But I would like to see a little variety. I've been watching that for a while, so
Yeah.
yeah, we got to bring in some other good sitcoms.
That Phil Rosenhall, who made Everybody Loves Raymond, he
Hmm.
actually tapped Raymond. He was just on Stephen Colbert this week, and that guy, first off, was a delight. Like he's such in a good mood. Well, of course, Everybody Loves Raymond was made into other 50 countries. Like the guy's making money forever now, and
Yeah.
apparently he has a show. I didn't know about this, where he just goes around the world tasting food
Oh,
and
Feed
telling you
Phil.
how. Are you shitting me? You know about
Yeah,
this?
no, I've seen trailers for it. I probably
Oh,
watched an episode of it actually. But when you were saying Phil something or other, I was like, I think I know who he's talking about because I'm seeing his face from the trailers on that.
yeah.
But yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Think about having that much money to just be like, I want to do a show where I eat food from around the world. That's all he does now, and it's just everybody loves Raymond, and he makes money from it.
You know what I'd love with that is a series like that with Jim Gaffigan, going around the world
Dude,
eating at different places, but just being
he's the
funny
best.
because just I imagine him going to like some weird seafood place, looking at something like, "Do you guys eat this?
Yeah.
Is this part edible?"
Then he's like getting full on fortune cookies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Oh
just like just
man,
give me more rice. Uh, yeah, that'd
That
be
Jim
great.
Gaffigan, he's so good. TikTok
Yeah.
guys, follow him on TikTok. I can't
Oh
suggest that
yeah,
enough.
for sure.
All right, let's talk about Grand Theft Auto. It also had a lot of leaks this week from some 17-year-old who thinks he's all awesome and stuff. He hacked Uber in one day, then like 3 days later on, he's hacking Grand Theft Auto. Calm down, kid.
Right.
Uh, London thought so. They arrested him today. So he just got arrested. But what he did leak, he revealed a lot of gameplay footage for Grand Theft Auto 6 and stole the source code for both GTA 6 and 5. Now, with the source code, you can essentially make another game. And he was negotiating with Rockstar for 6 and selling the source code for 5 because if you wanted to make a GTA clone, there we go. You have all the framework right there. What do you think about this new rise in trying to hack and steal game footage before it's out?
Yeah, I mean, it's like stealing anything else, right? It benefits them specifically because they can extort and blackmail and get something out of it. But for us as consumers, you might be able to get a leaked version of it. If you want that, then cool. But for the most part, it's damaging for us primarily because those companies are now going to have to invest a lot of money in protecting themselves against this. So the game that you want to buy for $60 might become 65 or 70 or 80 because we have to now help pay for security. And
That's a good point.
that kind of sucks for us, you know. And we don't want to see. I don't want to see a bastardized version of the game come out early. There's some games, however, that like somebody can hack it and alter it and make a really cool different version of the game, and maybe some people will like that. In that case, you know, maybe the original creator should buy it back from them and sell it to the masses and profit from their own thing. But I would definitely wouldn't endorse stealing other people's code and
Yeah.
games. It just makes for poor quality. So I don't know. I think if we didn't have this issue, it'd be easier for the companies to provide us with what we want to play versus them
Yeah.
having to protect themselves against this kind of hacking.
And it happens for so many games too, like World of Warcraft, for example. It's a live service game essentially, right? It's a game with expansions and patches coming out, and there are people who do what's called data mining, and they'll go through the source codes or they'll go through all the coding to find upcoming mounts and stuff like that, and then put it out early. Well, then people also find like storyline points and reveal those. So it's like you guys just spoiled the game without experiencing the game. No
Yeah,
wonder why you guys consume the content too fast because you guys are getting it early and stuff. So you're not giving the company a fair shot. I think doing that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But they want to use that as a way to get money out of them. So hey, we found out who's going to be the next big boss. If you pay us $500 or 500,000, we won't reveal it to the world. It's like, well, crap for the company. If everybody finds out the next big story or whatever, that's kind of damning for their game because people
Yeah.
are not going to have that excitement. So in some cases, it's probably worth it for them to spend that money, but they shouldn't
It
have
is,
to.
yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but I think we're just going to have to double down on security with game development.
Yeah. Well, one thing that came out of this is like a lot of the game footage came out, which is internal footage. Like when you're saying to your boss, "Hey, what do you think about the character looking like this?" And then he sends back, "Oh, I like to change this." That's what got stolen. So it's like some of the most early raw data from the game, and a lot of people immediately were like, "Oh man, usually you work on visuals first. These graphics look garbage." Well, a bunch of video game companies and pretty cool little show of solidarity is like, "Hold up." You
Yeah.
work on gameplay first. Who cares about graphics until the very end? Obviously, you have to
Yeah.
make something for the fancy stuff to sit on. You can't do vice versa.
And you don't tell Bob Ross paint the trees before the mountains. Like
Yeah. Oh man,
if
that
you
needs to be on a shirt. Watch
Yeah.
out, guys, for our shop. That's on a shirt.
if you're trying to tell these game developers, if you like any of their games in the past, which everybody likes Grand Theft Auto, and you're telling, oh well, you guys are doing it wrong, you should have done it like this first. Who are you? Your voice means nothing. Shut up and go away. You're stupid. You're stupid. Like, come on. Not everybody needs a voice, and I mean,
Yeah.
everybody should have a voice in their field of expertise, and in voting and things like that. But if you don't know what you're talking about, sit down and shut up. I'm sorry.
Shut up, yeah. Well, and then like a lot of these game companies were like showing proof. They were like, "Here's our early footage of this game you love. here's the new footage. You guys love this. You talk about it all the time. Well, beforehand it was stick figures, and we didn't know what the hell we were doing. Like even
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild is like, here's what it was. We were basing it off this 2D garbage that we use, and it's like,
Yeah. I mean,
okay,
you like
yeah.
driving your car, but if you see them, building the frame, you're not going to talk shit like, oh, you should have put the headlights first and then build around those. No, it's just not how it works.
That'd be fun to watch. I'd watch that puzzle piece get into place. And the other thing that happens, the reason this stuff blows up, and we are super guilty of this. I'm gonna say that the word leaks gets you more clicks. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Yeah. There's a reason that on the TikTok videos I talked about this, it says leaks like 3 freaking times because I know it gets more clicks. So that's one thing. Like I think we're part of being responsible in even wanting somebody to search for these leaks because then we make content off of it.
Yeah.
As a whole, it's not good. Maybe we'll start curtailing that. I know we don't share rumors unless they're confirmed, which is something that came out this week. But leaks, it's tough. We're so needy,
People want that excitement because they want to feel it's a like self. How do you call it? You want to promote yourself. You want to feel important to everybody. So when you hear some juicy gossip, the first thing you want to do is go tell somebody else. Like, oh, hey, did you hear so and so was sleeping with so and so? And there's no reason for it. It doesn't benefit anybody, but you feel special because you're the one that's, informing people and you're the center of attention. But that doesn't do anybody any good. So we don't need the leaks, please. Keep them all under wraps.
And we're not going to share them unless in this case, Rockstar came out and admitted the leak was real first. Yeah. Secondly, they said that it's not going to slow us down, guys. We're not worried about it at all. So we're telling you now that we're not going to share leaks for the sake of sharing leaks and getting clicks anymore. Not that we haven't in the past. We definitely have. Hey, you got to grow that TikTok, guys. I'm sorry. But we're going to try to curtail that and be more responsible with how we share things. IGN, it's your turn now. Ooh, call them out. No, I'm just kidding. IGN, if you guys want a podcast, let us know. All right, so I would so fast.
That'd be awesome, right?
Yeah. Kotaku as well. Not to, anyways. All right, so next we're going to be talking about Twitch and its gambling problems. Jonathan, you're not much of a Twitch watcher, correct?
Correct. I mean, I have it. I've gone on it a few times, but I don't have the same satisfaction as a lot of people do from watching somebody else playing a different game. So
yeah,
and that's majority of what you do on there. So yeah, it's not a spot that I hang out very often.
There are people who go hard on that. It is like their main form of entertainment, which is, hey, props to you. But like Scott, who's been on this podcast a lot, he's our moderator over on Discord. His girlfriend, I was thinking wife, but it's girlfriend, but they've been together a long time. That's like she watches Twitch all day. Like that's her main thing. When she gets home, she watches some Twitch. And I'm just like, man, I can't do that. I stream and I don't, watch Twitch very much.
Yeah. I understand, like, if you follow a certain couple people and you get to know them, their gameplay, their, how they joke around while they're playing and stuff like that, then it'd be fun just to be watching them and what they're playing. But to be watching because you like a certain game and you want to see somebody playing that game and you don't know the person or, that very well, it just doesn't seem exciting at all for me.
I think it comes down to like the vlog thing, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. It's the personalities that they're into.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's what they're just kind of checking in on the data. But I mean, like streamer life, which I want to do an episode about this. It's becoming more and more relevant it's being revealed more, I guess. That's how you're going to say it, Frank. That being a streamer is like one of the hardest jobs in the world. It just sounds so fun. Like, I'm going to play video games all day. No, you work
the
every
Truman
night.
Show.
Yeah, it's exactly that, dude. Oh, my God.
Yeah,
they should make a new Truman Show about a freaking streamer.
Oh, that'd be good.
Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. We're going to talk about this later.
Let's get it patented before we can write a script and everything.
Damn, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, over on Twitch, they've been having a bit of a gambling issue. So, streamer Sliker, I think that's his name, how you say it, he admitted that on his stream that he's been addicted to gambling, which is a real problem out there, guys. He's been betting on CSGO games. So, furthermore, he actually swindled $200,000 from his fellow Twitch players and his community by saying, like, hey, guys, we had some money issues. I just can't pay my bills this month. Can you guys help out? And collect a donation up to $200,000. He then used that and lost it in CSGO. So he admitted, like, hey, guys, I got a gambling problem. I don't know where to go from here. He's like, he was lost. I think first off, it sucks that he took the $200,000. But gambling addiction is an addiction. That's tough, man. What do you think?
Yeah, that's hard. It's awesome that he's able to confront it now. It's a little late to save that $200,000,
right?
And he's going to be he's not going to be in debt. That was money given to him as gifts, which is I mean, props to him that he didn't leverage his house or something like that for it. Um, but that's unfortunate though that his fans and friends have been taken advantage of. So I'm pretty sure his reputation's got to take a hard dent for that one. But it's good that he's looking for help, and I don't know if like CS:GO or Twitch if they offer any type of help. I know I'm sure there's some sources of help in his community, but it's hard. I don't know where you go from there. Really, you have to check into a program that will
Possibly, yeah.
keep you from gaming or from
Gambling.
gambling. But yeah, I mean, I definitely encourage anybody who even thinks they have some kind of struggle with gambling. I don't gamble personally because I'm cheap and I can't let go of money. But I mean, I do. I do gamble in the fact that like I go on auction sites and bid on stuff, and I buy
That's
more
fair.
things than I
And
need to
turn around and sell
sometimes.
it sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like you think, oh man, if I could just get this for $4 and I could sell it for $10, I'm gonna do really good. Or this would normally cost me $20 if I went to Target to get it. So there's that kind of hype, and then you start bidding a little more than you should, and you're like, oh crap, I spent $80 on things I really don't need
Yeah.
right now, at least. And it's like, I mean, yeah. So it's hard. I mean, I'm sure most people probably do have that kind of excitement for profit or for getting a good deal, whether it's like extreme couponing or just when someone tells you like, hey, I can get you half off of something. Everybody's probably felt that little bit of excitement. Black Friday is a perfect example
Oh man.
of winning or saving money. Marketing is praise on that. They literally, all companies are trying to use that to their benefit. But yeah, I mean, if you think it's affecting your life in any way, don't wait until you've spent $200,000. Talk to somebody. At least talk to your closest friends first and see if they see those signs in you and they can help you get help.
It's hard because when you're in it, you almost can't see it, or you
Yeah.
see it and you don't know the first step. And so what we're gonna do is it's gonna be the very first thing in the description is the phone number to the helpline for people who are much more educated and smart about this. See how I said that? We know what we're talking about.
Educated.
We got the education. No, follow that phone number. Give them a call. It doesn't hurt just to make the call. You can literally just hang up right away, but you made
Yeah.
that first step. I myself, I know I love gambling personally. Casinos, I just that sound of a slot machine. Whoo, that's a buzz right there. But I know I have an addictive personality in a lot of ways, so I purposely try to stay with. Just like I don't smoke cigars very often because I know that could become a habit very quick for me, and so I go to a casino, sure, but I don't go often. And they literally just opened up one like within 2 miles of me, so but I'm not going as often. I only went once, and I did win a little bit of money. I'll throw that out there.
Nice.
But follow that phone number, guys. Just make that first step, and hey, you're already improving yourself in a small way. That's what counts.
I want to share one thing, and it's the reason why when I was younger, I did like going to the casinos.
Yeah.
But this one thing made me feel better about not going. When you go into a casino, it's beautiful, right? There's, crystal chandeliers and gold on the walls and everything, and you think, oh, I'm so fancy for getting to go to this fancy place. But you're not. You're paying. You're giving them your money. I mean, it's well calculated. They know what they're doing. They're not amateurs at this. Obviously, they have this massive building with millions and millions of dollars in it. So they know how to kind of pick your pockets or convince you to spend money. And you more often than not, you're going to leave at a loss, not a profit. And all this gold around you is built off of your money and all these other hardworking blue collar people that are going to their jobs earning this money, and they come and dump it in these machines and then walk out penniless and dissatisfied. These companies know how to prey on you and how to get you to give them your money. So it's hard, but you got to try to avoid putting yourself in those situations, I think.
That was a good way to do it, though. You paid attention to what you're paying for, really.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, there's so much science that goes into tricking you into gambling, man. It's kind of scary, really, how much they know about you.
Working on arcade machines, one of my early jobs, that is what highlighted it to me. Is like, oh, so you can calculate exactly how much this pays out per dollar, so you guarantee a profit for the arcade. That's so messed up, but that's how it works.
Well, okay, so and returning back to Sliker here, gambling on Twitch is becoming has becoming more and more popular. People are actually playing slot machines, like digital slot machines from really shady websites and streaming that. It's becoming very big. Some of the biggest Twitch streamers have converted into gambling streamers because of it. A lot of the big streamers, though, they came together to discuss this crazy situation with Sliker, and we're like, you know what? Sliker had an addiction. It's definitely not, it's his fault, but not all his fault. Twitch made it possible. And so they were like, Twitch, we need you guys to step up and ban this somewhere, do something. They were really worried about the fact that kids have early access to what gambling looks like and idolize it in a lot of ways. It's also cheapening the site because you're using these very, shady websites that have these shady slot machines on it. You're streaming that. You can't advertise Nike next to gamblegamble.com, It doesn't look good. So Nike's going to be walking away, not gamblegamble.com. Don't check gamblegamble.com. I just literally made that up. I have a feeling that's a hardcore porn site and I don't know.
Oh gosh.
Don't look it up. All right. So they were saying, we're going to boycott the Twitch, and we're going to boycott it the week of Christmas, which apparently is this monster week for Twitch. I never knew that. Why do you think that is?
Well, like college students have the week off. Young people who, don't really have families and don't have a lot of responsibility have time off for Christmas vacation, so they're probably hitting their computers hard.
So I wonder. So that's what it is. So like when trying to enjoy Christmas, whatever, lunch or dinner, with your family, and there's that punk teenager on his phone the whole time, he's watching Twitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or streaming. Yeah.
I was hoping they were watching my TikToks, but okay, I see how it is. I thought I was trying to reach the small kids with that. What do you think about this stance of like the community coming together for this?
Yeah, I think that's what we need. And if we need to find a different source for streaming, like if Twitch does not step forward and take control of the situation and make some change, then fine. Hey, you know what? Twitch can be the old MySpace, and we can
Facebook.
Find it could be Facebook, and we're moving on to the new TikTok or something like that. But whatever the next generation is, but they need to step up and put some kind of guidelines here. Like you're saying, putting a janky system that is blatantly taking advantage of people without having a certain standard of regulation in it next to top tier high quality products and companies, those shouldn't go together. So you should set some kind of standards. If you want to be known as the garbage website that has garbage sources, then that's fine, but just don't expect Nike to be promoting on your site as well. But I think they should put some kind of guide rails and structured limits to what can be done on their site.
As a reminder, Twitch is owned by Amazon. So
God, I forgot
you're
about
not
that.
a small company anymore, you guys. You have to act like adults.
That's true.
So Twitch put out a statement. They put it out on Twitter saying that, look, guys, here's the new gambling rules. You cannot have slots, roulettes, or dice games that are straight up like the slot machines and stuff like that. A lot of people were just having roulette tables. Jonathan, I know you'd watch that one. I know you're a roulette fan.
That is my go-to if I am going to gamble.
Yeah.
But
so they had
the odds are relatively fair.
Jonathan, that's what they say. You're slipping, bro.
When you compare it to all these digital things, I mean, so when you roll a dice in the real world, if you roll a dice on the ground, there's 1 in 6 chance it's going to land on a number.
Right.
When you push a button on a slot machine, there could be a 1 in 16,000 billion chance that you're going to win. They calculate it. It's a computer program. You don't have any say in your odds of winning anything. So it's completely out of your hands. So that's why I prefer, if I am going to gamble, a fair game that has at least calculatable odds.
For me, it's the slot machines. We might as well get that out there, too. If you're going to say roulette, for me, I'm a big slot machines. Max bet or don't do nothing is my opinion. But reiterate, phone number, click that first.
And honestly, to I don't know, not encourage gambling, if you go to a casino and spend $200, imagine that $200, you could have done so many other things.
Yeah.
You can go get a hotel room in a nice town, a couple hours away. Go to see a zoo or something fun with your family or friends. Like, there's so much more you can do with that money. If you want to go to the casino and just walk around, hit the buffet and go out, imagine the money you just saved by not dumping it into a slot machine. If somebody was to walk up on the street and hand you $200, you would gladly take it, and you would feel like that just changed your day, your week, your month. But it's so easy for some reason to just dump the money in the machine. So
and with that money, I mean, you could have gotten 3 AAA games. You could have gotten a year of Game Pass, more than a year of Game Pass. Like you could have gotten a Switch. I think the like regular Switch, not the OLED, is $200. There's so much. That's a really good way to look at it. And a lot of times that's what curtails me from gambling. Sometimes, like when you win, like hey, I got $200 up. Let me put this back in the machine. I'd be like, what am I doing? Let's go buy, I don't know, Skyrim again or something like that. Oh, God, I couldn't think of another game. That's so bad. So one of the things that Twitch also said is, if the gambling is allowed by your local government, like say you're doing this then that's okay. So that's a problem right there. And secondly, they specifically did not say anything about like sports gambling, which is what got Sliker the problem, because he was betting on CSGO sports. So you guys didn't actually address anything. They're going to be changing it over time, they said, but it seems like they're trying to make sure that they can keep as much gambling as possible on their site. I just don't care for that.
Yeah. Do you think there's a way they could change the gambling? And that, like, so I'm thinking like the arcade example. If you get their game tokens and use it within their game, and you can only redeem it for certain points or downloadable content or something like that.
Use
So it
points
doesn't-
and tokens that are on Twitch to do the gambling.
that don't turn back into cash.
The problem with that, Jonathan, is now they're part of the gambling syndicate.
Yeah.
Like right now, they're just being the viewers of it. Now, then you're part of it. That might be dangerous because then you're up for all these rules.
But that's how they can not only they can help put controls and limitations in it. I mean, they would make a fortune doing that because now the money goes to them and then from them sometimes to the third parties. But I think, I mean, maybe if they do something like that, it would slow down the gambling, or they can better regulate it at least.
Yeah.
So it's not out of control. But I don't know. Either way, gambling is an addiction, just like, drugs and alcohol, and we should try to avoid it as much as possible.
Definitely. So let us know what you guys think on what Twitch should do with their new stance on gambling. And again, please, if you feel like you might have an issue, just feel free to give that call and make that first step. All right, we're going to be heading into Halloween soon, right? Especially when we come back for break, we're mid-Halloween. So I thought, Jonathan, let's go ahead and start talking about our recommendations. What horror movies can people watch, specifically ones they might not have seen yet? I'm going to start us off. Brightburn is a great movie that came out. I mean, I talked a lot of smack on my review. I'll give you that much. I reviewed it a few years back here on the podcast. But it's, what if a kid got Superman's powers, and what would he do? Well, he would be a menace a lot of times, and this kid's straight up a murderer. And that kind of like, what if Superman hated you? What would you do if Superman's like, I'm going to kill you? And you're just like, I can't even be in my house right now. He's Superman. That's what's going on.
Yeah,
so
you have to try to erase yourself off the planet. Like, how do I hide from Superman?
Yeah, you just don't. Like, if we're being honest, Lex Luthor, he's in an apartment somewhere. If Superman really wanted to, just like, I'm going to get you and just drop you from your apartment.
Right. I'm just going to run through you.
It's
a
really
kryptonite
fun.
Suit.
Yeah. There's a ton of plot holes in it, I will say. But horror movies, they kind of get a little bit of a pass on being cheesy. So
yeah,
go watch it, guys. Brightburn. It just came out a couple years ago. It's a lot of fun. Plus the Halloween movies, too. The new Halloween movie's coming out to Peacock, and Peacock is worth getting. Got any suggestions for everybody?
So I don't care so much for slashers. I do like horror movies, and the suspenseful ones especially. Though it's harder for me to watch them these days because my wife gets so scared by scary movies.
Yeah.
She could walk in the dangerous ghetto streets at night, but for some reason a horror movie, and it's the psychological thriller stuff that really gets in her head. Like, she'll have nightmares about how someone's just following her quietly, like Jason or Michael. Anyways. So I haven't watched a lot of really good horror movies lately, but we always watch Hocus Pocus. That's her go-to Christmas or Halloween movie. We've already been watching Christmas movies, by the way. But there's a new Hocus Pocus coming out the end of this month. Should be just a few days from when this releases. So we're definitely going to be going to see that in theaters. Can't wait for that. But my personal, retro favorite Halloween movie is got to be the Leprechaun series. Somebody just got me the awesome Leprechaun pop you can see in the back.
That's a good pop.
Oh yeah. And so the first three are great. The later three are just kind of hilarious, but still pretty good from their own right. So you got to check out the whole Leprechaun series.
They get real bad, guys. I will admit that first one is a perfect movie. It's a perfect horror film. Yeah. But that one where he's in Vegas, it's it's so silly.
I thought that was pretty good.
It's good. I'm watching it, but it's like the whole boobs blowing up and stuff.
Yeah. I think it was Leprechaun 2, then Leprechaun in Vegas, possibly. Maybe number 2 is Vegas.
I think 2's Vegas, but then they go to space.
Yeah, I think number 4 is Leprechaun in space, and then 5 is Leprechaun in the Hood, and then 6 is In the Hood 2.
Which are legitimately great movies. The Hood ones are actually really good.
Yeah, it's funny because he's trying to get more gold, so he's like plucking gold teeth and things like that. It's like, oh my gosh.
And it's Willow.
Yeah, Willow. Oh, which I don't think I've seen that full length trailer that you were mentioning.
After this, dude, I'm telling
Yes, I
you.
have to go watch it.
So we've been a lot of people actually they were just talking about this on Joystick show. Go check that out, guys. Thomas was on the show a couple weeks ago. That's his show. How everybody's inevitably going to be comparing Game of Thrones and Rings of Power, House of Dragons and Ring of Power, and we do it all the time. We were just talking about how we're basically only watching House of Dragons at this point. I'm
really
telling
good.
you, when Willow comes out, I will at least be one of them that's comparing that to these two shows. So don't
Yeah.
miss Willow, guys, when that comes out. That's going to be good, I think.
Do you think it'll be more in line with House of Dragons or the Rings of Power? It seems to me like it fits more with the Rings of Power world.
I
but-
agree it's going to be like Rings of Power, but I think it's going to be less highfalutin. I think it's going to be more, I'm hoping it's more just action adventure. Not like, I think one of the things that's kind of hurting Rings of Power is its grandeur. It tried to be bigger than Lord of the Rings. And it's like, look, your best bet is to try to not compete with Lord of the Rings. Like House of Dragons is not trying to compete with Game of Thrones. They're a different thing. And there are times you're like, oh, this is a wedding that went bad. We've seen that before. But generally it feels different. And Rings of Power is trying to feel like Lord of the Rings, and you won't do that. You know.
Yeah, and Willow reminds me more of the Fellowship of the Rings than it does like the Two Towers or Return of the King. So maybe
well put.
Maybe if they aim more for that, that would be. I mean, it's a little more family friendly, but adventure, and there is a lot of challenges and stuff like that. War battles. So
And it embraces being silly. There's times where something's silly, like the little dudes.
the brownies, yeah.
Brownies, there it is. Yeah.
I wonder if they're gonna change. I mean, obviously they're gonna change their CGI style, but I wonder if they're gonna change the characters themselves to be different.
No, Jonathan, watch the trailer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're in
yeah. It's, okay.
All right, so when we come back, we're going to be doing 3 weeks of top fives in a row when we come back from our break, so the second week of October. And we're going to be doing top 5 horror movies from different eras. So those 80s, the slasher flicks, 90s, we're talking Scream, and I Know What You Did Last Summer. Then the new era where we have The Conjuring and creepy dolls and all those scare the hell out of me. But yeah, so we're going to be doing our top 5 from each of those big eras, and please join us. We're going to be talking about them on Twitter, and any kind of responses you guys throw out there, as long as it's not too bad, or shouting out gamblegamble.com, we're going to make sure to mention it here and get your guys' opinion into the show. So that should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward. You already got kind of ideas of what you want to throw into those top 5s? You want to kind of give us a peek?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just thinking right now when you're listing these off, like the Omen was good, and The Ring. I mean, I don't think I saw the sequel, but the original one, it was at the time was a creepy movie. It's not the kind of movie you can rewatch and really have the same.
You only had 7
suspense
days to
once you know
live.
the story. Yeah, but that was good. Oh, and that movie Winchester that came out a few years back. Remember
That
one?
was dude, like nobody knows about that movie. We saw that in
good.
theaters.
That was so good. Yeah. So there's a lot of good ones out there.
Yeah.
13 Ghosts, man. If they remade that movie nowadays, ooh, that would be so clean.
That's
would
in
be
that
awesome.
90s chunk. Like there was
Yeah.
something in the like 13 Ghosts. They should remake it again because I bet the
That'd be
graphics
so
would be so
good.
much better now.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
But that was like I remember that movie being so scary that you had to like warn people like, "Hey, we're gonna watch 13 Ghosts, but really you need to sit down and be careful because you might die."
Right. It's pretty creepy.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us this week. Please go check out all of our podcasts. They're going to be still active while we take this 2-week break. Headlines, obviously, is going to be taking a break here pretty soon because I'm the one that does that. But check them all out, guys. We'll see you guys later on. Bye.
Bye.